Healthcare costs are among the financial worries keeping Americans up at night. A new Bankrate report shows that 56% of American adults are losing sleep over one financial issue, with healthcare as the top culprit. Joining us now to break down this survey and discuss more is Tedd Rossman of Bankrate. So, Ted, let's just talk about some of the findings here with general insecurity, what people are losing sleep over at night. What are the topics that came up most in your findings?
So if we break it into the big categories, money is first. 56% of U.S. adults losing sleep at least occasionally over money. And then it was 42% relationships, 37% health, 28% work, and 21% politics. All told, 8 in 10 people losing sleep over at least one of these, and the average is 3.
Okay, wait, but how does this stack up versus previous years?
It's a little bit worse this year. So it's actually 9 percentage points worse.
Oh, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
It is. And that was really led by health. There was a 9 percentage point decline in people feeling worse about health, both in terms of their medical care and how to pay for it. And then other things that jumped year to year: politics, there was a 7-point jump there, more people worried, and saving for retirement. These are all things that people are worried about.
And what can people do? I mean, there was someone in college that used to say big ticket items are always the ones you want to cut first. What's the recommendation there?
I totally agree. I think there's a lot of personal finance shaming about lattes and avocado toast, and I think it's the big stuff.
Yeah.
You know, most people who have new cars are paying $550 a month for that privilege. That's a lot. I mean, that's one that you could easily cut, drive a cheaper used car instead, bank the savings. I also like looking at big things like housing costs, vacations, other recurring expenses. Are there things that you're paying for each and every month that you don't need? And if so, cut them back. That's going to have a 12x benefit compared to just doing it one time.
Now, something that I find, I don't know if it's troubling, but something that just stands out is that millennials are losing sleep the most over work, which is, I don't know. I suppose that millennials get a rap as, selfish and entitled and difficult to work with. So to find that almost 40% of them are losing sleep over their performance at work, I think kind of flies in the face of that cliche, perhaps, of millennials as tough people to have in the workplace. But I don't know if that's something that you kind of agree with how that comes out.
Well, we did a different study about vacation time, and we found that millennials are actually the most likely to leave their vacation time unused. And there might be some guilty parties around the table here. We were just talking about July 5th next week, and a lot of people here are going to be are right?
That's right. We'll all be working.
Workaholic millennials.
Like Heidi.
When we look at the financial worries, how does that vary by region? Like, do people on the East Coast worry more than those on the West Coast? Because there is, a stigma that people on the West Coast are more chill and more relaxed and don't care much.
The biggest regional difference was between Northeasterners and Midwesterners. Northeasterners losing the most sleep over these issues, Midwesterners the least. Still, though, even in the Midwest, it's more than half. So it's an awful lot of people that are stressed about these things. I would say do 2 things. Look for ways to raise your income. And we found that almost half of working adults have a side hustle. So that's good. Work on that, and also find ways to cut back. It's got to be one or the other, if not both.
This just plays into the gig economy. I know someone who's a makeup artist who also drives Lyft in the morning to supplement her income, and that's why she got that Lyft gig.
And that's commendable on one hand because people are working hard. The downside, though, is that people feel like they have to do this. And within all the money categories we asked about, it's everyday expenses that people are the most worried about. This is just basic stuff. People don't think that their incomes are going far enough. And whether that's because of lifestyle creep or whether that's because some people have been left behind by this economic expansion, it's a big issue.
And then just by generations, which generation is the most worried in general?
It's Gen Xers, actually.
Really?
And I think that's...
Not a surprise. Not a surprise to me.
Well, they're squeezed because in many cases, they're putting their own kids through college. At the same time, they're worried about aging parents. Maybe they're getting closer to their own retirement. Gen X is the most stressed.
And Ted, just in general, you guys run a lot of surveys about the state of the economy, how people are feeling. Earlier this week in the debates, we had the first question that anyone heard in the 2020 election was Savannah Guthrie saying 70% of Americans say the economy is doing well. Why do you want to do blah, blah, blah? I mean, in your work, does that 70% number sound right to you, or do you think people are a little bit more insecure about the economy than perhaps a 3.6 unemployment rate might indicate?
We're seeing a little more 60-40.
Okay.
60 in favor of the economy, 40% of people saying that the economy is not doing so well. I think it really does revolve around your personal circumstances. There's a lot of people, again, about 40%, that haven't gotten a raise lately. And these are the kind of people that are having trouble making ends meet at the end of the month.
All right. Tedd Rossman with Bankrate. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.